we're bringing something new to the table.
How has it been 15 years and we still don't know the numbers, Mason? What do they mean?
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Early broadcast protocol.
Treyarch has just released Call of Duty
The numbers! What are they saying?
Black Ops 7 last week on November 14th as a direct follow-up to last year's Black Ops 6 title. Now joining Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer Games and shifting away from this traditional franchise long-standing 3-studio rotation, this back-to-back release is part of a larger internally directed strategy by Activision to create multi-year story arcs
influence and control.
We're not gonna let that happen. Zed, what's the play?
We need allies.
for its major sub-series Black Ops and Modern Warfare. While fans have expressed general mixed opinions, overall sentiment towards Black Ops 7 appears to be largely negative.
Today we are on the Black Ops 7 beta. Just got on the game, I wanted to do my first impressions.
Push beyond. Push beyond. Beyond.
Following the beta and initial reveals earlier this year, many players feel the game lacks originality, recycles assets from its predecessors, and moves too far into a futuristic un-Call of Duty direction, if you will. So, the same trajectory it's been headed for years.
Push beyond what we've achieved before.
Let's go.
Though some fans, particularly those who enjoy the faster-paced gameplay of previous Black Ops titles like BO3, still found aspects to enjoy from last week's launch, with the improved movement and gunplay offering a unique experience compared to last week's BO6, as well as a brand new round-based zombies map revamping once again on the age-old Black Ops Zombies system, being a highlight for many players who were otherwise disappointed with the multiplayer side of things. So essentially how a lot of us have been feeling since around the Black Ops 4 mark, as the shift to a multi-year development cycle for each studio has been seen by some as an attempt to give developers more time for each project, rather than the pressures of a traditional annual release model. In the past, this supposedly led to rush games such as Call of Duty Vanguard in 2021. But this argument quickly fizzles out when many of the same issues that haunted Vanguard still persist in Black Ops 7, but with a different variation. When so many fans view BO7 as a simple expansion or part 2 of Black Ops 6, unlike the complete renovations of past Black Ops releases, as their leveraging of game resources, graphics, and many animations alike, for some, this lack of innovation doesn't even justify a new $70 game purchase, especially only a year out since its last rendition.
That's all we're worth.
It's like they're making the same mistakes from Black Ops 3 just a decade later, but with less of an excuse since they chose to take that card away from themselves too.
For the first time in franchise history, Black Ops takes players deep into Japan.
What?
Not just as a...
Bro, what are you talking about?
Back when most flaws could be forgiven and less noticeable when each studios weren't coming back for a couple of years. And at least mechanically, each year felt distinct from the last. But for many, this year's Black Ops 7 could have easily been a DLC included for BO6. Though, there may have been some leaks and rumors around the Call of Duty community suggesting this scheduling decisions might actually be a strategic choice to allow other key studios like Infinity Ward more time to develop their next major title. This being part of a franchise-wide effort to align all studios towards a single cohesive direction. Just hopefully not along the lines of Assassin's Creed recently. Oof. What happened to the days of Odyssey, man? Call of Duty Black Ops have been the generation-defining series out of its COD lineup to have fundamentally impacted so many of our childhoods. From trick-shotting on Turbine in BO2, to the treacherous monkeys in Moon for BO1.
Hey, yo!
Even Raul freaking Menendez and the rest of the solo campaigns for BO3 and prior have allowed it to become one of the landmark entries for the entire first-person shooter genre itself.
A necessary first step. Once again, you shall know fear.
So even with the current milking of the franchise today, there are still so many great memories to look back on since the first Black Ops entry in 2010. And what I really want to know is, when they bringing back Samantha the Zombies? She was low-key lit as an antagonist.
Fetch me their soul.
Went crazy back in the day, swear to God.
Oh, great! This again!
Treyarch's new release is a direct sequel to both Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in 2012 and last year's BO6, featuring once again 3 main components that have built the fandom that we know and love today. We just don't talk about Black Ops 4. It's like Season 4 of Community. Nobody sees it as canon because it's just the gas leak year. Black Ops 7's campaign, now set in the year 2035, exactly 10 years following the climactic fallout of Black Ops 2, which is this year. Nice. The story following David Mason, our beloved Black Ops 2 protagonist, as well as his Joint Specialist Operations Command team, as they investigate the mysterious return of, you guessed it, Raul Menendez, the arguably best villain in the entirety of the series.
Raul Menendez ignited global unrest on an unprecedented scale.
This time around, Menendez is now the face of yet another regime, the Guild, whom again weaponizes fear and cutting-edge technology to garner yet another insurrection. This new campaign is also notable for being playable in 1 to 4 player co-op for the first time in the series' history.
Stop looking backwards.
I think we can all agree that the last truly great Call of Duty campaign was and may still end up being Black Ops 2. Though the recent Black Ops titles have had some standout moments, and even the other studios have done solid work with instances like Modern Warfare 2019, standing as a solid reboot for the franchise almost 9 years down the line, even Infinite Warfare, which many felt didn't even really feel like a Call of Duty title, still deserves credit for the innovative work done on that game. But I don't think any of these titles can compare to the golden age of Call of Duty, that being from 2007 to around 2012, which saw juggernaut games like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, MW3, and even Black Ops 2. Just listing these one by one gives me chills reminiscing of all the glorious moments of this era. A time when every facet of the franchise was celebrated by lovers and haters alike. Each time I re-download Black Ops 2 or even catch a video on the topic, I can't help but think back to one character, Raul Menendez, whom has returned in Black Ops 7. Even though the greatness of the single-player campaigns cannot be debated for the first Black Ops trilogy, the one thing that the stories outside of these lacked, in my opinion, was extreme emotional stakes. Yes, the turning on Ghost in Modern Warfare 2 was enticing, but players weren't entirely invested into the story as much as the aesthetics of the game and Ghost's infamous mask. With campaign antagonists like General Shepard, Makarov, and Dragovic, though each had their own unique quirks and ideologies, all felt somewhat like generic mustache-twirling villains, only worth talking about for their individual regimes and acts of violence, rather than their stories itself. It's for the same reason that Raul Menendez was such a special villain, and also why, in a way, his return might end up falling flat. Menendez had real motivations presented to the player throughout BO2. As a child, Raul and his sister Josefina were both trapped in a burning barn lit on fire by an American as part of an insurance scam.
In good hands.
Disfiguring Josefina and instilling an early hatred of capitalism in Raul. While this eventually led him to work with the cartels and oppose the American government later on in the game, his Cordes Diem revolution didn't necessarily kick into high gear until quite some time after his sister was accidentally killed by Frank Woods in an attempt to assassinate Menendez. Once this occurred, he planned his revenge against her killer. Something this haunting and unforgettable being the reason why nothing he does in Black Ops 7, I fear, will have the same impact. With the return to advanced futuristic movement mechanics like wall jumping and jetpack usage, many fans have been heavily criticizing this lack of innovation, bringing the franchise back to where it was a decade ago. Even though the past few games have been, many fans still prefer a more grounded, realistic shooter experience and feels the series, especially the Black Ops storyline, has jumped the gun on several occasions. This has caused some fans to shift their interest towards competitors, such as Battlefield 6 once again. everything all feels just a little too deja vu from the fights of Battlefield 5 and Black Ops 4 just a few years ago. Which is no wonder each time Battlefield 6 has a significant event or update, Black Ops 6 conveniently starts another free trial, with the last week-long trial occurring from October 9th to the 16th, but then only a couple of weeks after, on October 28th, another free trial launches. Alright, so it's either Black Ops 6 is selling worse than your granny's drawers at a yard sale, or Activision isn't taking so well to the competition. The open beta, which took place just last month, also received an overwhelmingly negative reception, with fans complaining that the gameplay was essentially a carbon copy of BO6, and that the beta was plagued by hackers and aggressive skill-based matchmaking, which has been nerfed and replaced with a more fair matchmaking system since then. Though the damage had already been done. After years of complaints about strict SBMM, Treyarch announced changes for BO7 based on beta feedback, including open matchmaking with minimal skill consideration. Even though this is still a win in the eyes of some, this has also been seen as a reversal of progress and a controversial topic that has long frustrated gamers in the community, especially the higher skilled individuals.
The same, not really different. Yeah, skill-based matchmaking, I would say like mid-tier. The biggest problem with skill-based is that if you want to hop on and play with your boys and your boy's better than you, that's where it starts to get really like fucked. Because if your boy's better than you, you're not that good. You're getting thrown into skill-based matchmaking lobbies that you're not supposed to be in. Now you're getting shit on. It makes it harder to play with your friends.
Seeing as we're in full swing of this new generation of game releases, controversial business practices came bundled in with Black Ops 7.
The internet has been in an uproar.
Activision having been accused of attempting to trick players into pre-ordering through a sneaky UI change within Black Ops 6 added ever flame to this dilemma. The decision to cancel plans for Black Ops 6 cosmetics in order to carry over to BO7 was understandably met with community backlash, with fans speculating that this move was in fact to force new purchases of this New Year's release. Each time it just makes it seem more and more like BO6 was a throwaway title, garnering the question, why even have purchased the game if the sequel will be so close in succession with remedial improvements? Nevertheless, this still is a first-person shooter game, and though movements are annoying to say the least, overall gunplay was still solid. Maps both in the beta and first week launch were also praised by competitive players for their 3-lane design and optimal flow. Overall, the reaction to BO7 is heavily split, with a vocal majority expressing fatigue over the series' direction, while a smaller group of fans have found enjoyment in certain gameplay elements, but it's not like this hasn't been happening since the release of BO4. It's almost a tradition for initial hate to occur for a new Call of Duty game. Just don't mess up zombies, I swear to God. The Call of Duty Black Ops franchise, primarily developed by Treyarch Games, known for its Cold War era, clandestine operations, and future warfare storylines later on. The series has had 7 main entries and 1 spin-off title, and is synonymous as the Mount Rushmore franchise coming from this gaming universe, encapsulating just about every single great aspect of the first-person shooter genre, beginning at a time when it was at its peak of pop cultural success, revolutionizing the gaming landscape time and time again with its solo campaign, MMO multiplayer arena, and legendary zombie storylines. Anyone and everyone who has even an ounce of appreciation for gaming has most likely found something to enjoy from these titles. And I know we're all itching for gameplay and highlights of the new game, but we can save that for a little down the line. The first game in the series, Black Ops, drops on November 9th, 2010, set during the 1960s Cold War and Vietnam War.
1968, Vietnam War. Viet Cong soldiers, orchestrated by Perseus, attempted to steal an American-made nuclear bomb from a U.S. firebase.
Focusing on CIA operative Alex Mason and mind control experimentation. Considered a classic due to its compelling single-player campaign, innovative and balanced multiplayer, and a highly popular expanded zombies mode. Offering a comprehensive and polished overall experience from the get-go. The single-player campaign explores themes of espionage, brainwashing, and psychological manipulation, with a mind-bending twist ending that left players debating the true events. introducing memorable characters like Alex Mason, Frank Woods, and even the legendary Viktor Reznov, brought to life by excellent celebrity voice actors. Tying into real historical events and locations added depth and immersion. Gameplay seamlessly transitioned between all-out war, stealth, and unique vehicle missions, keeping the experience fresh and engaging throughout. Its innovative multiplayer mode, introducing in-game currency earned through gameplay, was praised at first, allowing players to purchase unlocks in any order, rather than being restricted by level like prior. The game launched with a strong lineup of well-designed maps, including the iconic Nuketown, which is still a fan favorite regardless of its unending milking today. The Zombies mode was also heavily expanded from its predecessor in World at War.
Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Yes! Yes!
Morning.
With numerous engaging and diverse maps, each with its own secrets and Easter eggs that fostered a strong community around solving each. 2 years down the line, on November 13th, 2012, Treyarch drops another banger with Black Ops 2, uniquely featuring 2 interconnected storylines for its campaign, one in the 1980s and a previously future setting in 2025. With player choices affecting the outcome of the campaign, the second installment now focused more so on the multiplayer and zombie side of things, with multiplayer arguably having the most groundbreaking innovations, allowing for faster paced and more customizable gameplay. A new Pick 10 create a class system gave players allocation slots to customize their loadout freely, each costing 1 point. This allowed for immense flexibility, as you could be running a primary weapon with no secondary to equip more perks or attachments, moving away from the more restrictive slot-based systems of Black Ops 1. Kill streaks were also replaced with score streaks, which rewarded players with points for objective play, encouraging better teamwork and objective-oriented gameplay. The Zombies mode was expanded with new features and game modes as well, leading to some of the most memorable Zombies experiences to this day. Beyond the classic zombie survival, new modes like Transit, linking multiple maps via a bus system, the 8-player Grief mode, and Turns were all introduced in BO2. Each map running this new engine incorporated new gameplay mechanics such as buildable items, Wunderweapons, and unique character abilities like the Afterlife mode in Mob of the Dead, adding even more depth to this slowly emerging Call of Duty gargantuan. Overall, BO2 felt smoother and more refined, with better hit detection and overall better game flow as well compared to its predecessor. The next title, Black Ops 3, coming 3 years after on November 6, 2015, set in a dystopian future of 2065, this is when Activision started losing the plot, with the community both enjoying and disliking this release, leading to the start of its divided opinions. Community reception of the game was complex and is best described as divisive at launch. Even though over the years, these have slowly evolved to being generally positive.
This ain't funny, Doc. Turn around. Slowly.
Especially towards the zombies and aspects of the multiplayer mode, the campaign was largely disliked for its confusing, convoluted story and lack of connection to previous Black Ops titles.
There is a chain of events that must be set in motion. The future hangs by a thread.
Many found it the weakest part of the game. Though some praised its innovative 4-player co-op feature, others argued that could have been introduced games ago. The advanced movement mechanics similar to Black Ops 7 were a point of contention. Some players enjoyed the fast-paced, high-skilled gameplay, while others, longing for a return to boots-to-ground combat, felt it strayed too far from the traditional Call of Duty formula. Its initial Zombies map, Shadows of Evil, was also often criticized for being overly complex and difficult to set up in public matches. Though over time, Zombies fans all agree that BO3 Zombies aged like fine wine, becoming widely considered the best in the franchise for its complexity and maps, which have been better understood and appreciated over the years. As well as the addition of the Zombies Chronicles DLC, remastering classic maps, cementing its legacy with the first 2 titles. Though everything after BO3 have been criticized, as the title began this wave of futuristic settings and advanced movement, fans quickly grew tired of the style and clamored for a return to traditional boots-to-ground gameplay, as to why Infinite Warfare that came right after suffered massive backlash in its reveal trailer simply for being another sci-fi game. Everything after BO3 also saw a heavy increase in monetization strategies, adding on to the ever controversy. including supply drops that often contain powerful pay-to-win weapons, frustrating players who didn't want to gamble or spend extra money, sometimes solely for cosmetic reasons. While later games shifted to Battle Pass systems as Fortnite began dominating the market, with there being tons of cosmetic-only items being jammed in game after game, this perception of a money-hungry vibe has remained a point of contention. The quality of single-player campaigns have also been highly inconsistent, with BO4 not even having one altogether, leading to many fans expressing the franchise's stagnation, with each annual release feeling uninspired and repetitive time and time again, reaching a peak with the MW3 release in 2023, heavily criticized for extensively reusing maps, assets, and gameplay systems from its predecessor, so kind of like exactly what they did this time around.
Copy.
Many post-BO3 titles have also been plagued by technical issues upon release, including poor net code, server instability, frame rate drops, and frequent game crashes, further detracting from the core gameplay experience. This criticism stems from a sense that the franchise has prioritized annual releases and monetization over quality, innovation, and listening to the core desires of its player base. Though in some ways they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, as many of the instances of BO1, BO2, and BO3 praised for its innovations were due to the time and culture when it was derived. A decade ago, if what came before it had not occurred, BO7 in its current form would be a smashing success, thrusting the studios into unknown stardom. But with its history and degree of effort from developers that we know they can garner, the expectations are just too high for any mediocre brand to effectively meet. And even if Black Ops 7 were to have done everything they were asked to do, fans could still end up being bored.
Those is call-outs. It's like, I got him in the cat cafe. That's gonna be fun to say no matter what.
We will prevail.
Building on recent success, Treyarch developed Black Ops 6 in parallel with Raven Software, a more recent Call of Duty studios whom led development on the Modern Warfare Remastered and Call of Duty Online. Building upon a new foundation within the Call of Duty engine, they released BO7 a year later in conjunction to allow the developers to directly build upon the momentum, story, and gameplay foundation, rather than handing it off to another studio with a different engine and design philosophy.
We have been bound by outdated systems, accepting limitations instead of redefining them.
Similar to how Infinity Ward released back-to-back Modern Warfare games in 2022 and 2023.
John?
General?
Treyarch is now doing the same thing with its Black Ops titles. This allows for a more continuous serialized narrative that can be told over multiple games, rather than a single title per development cycle. For multiplayer fans, they added in 2 new multiplayer modes: Skirmish, a large-scale 20v20 mode with multiple objectives, vehicle combat, wingsuits, and grappling hooks, and Overload, a multi-objective mode where teams fight for control of a device that must be carried into enemy control zones. Along with previously mentioned matchmaking alterations to minimally consider skill, lobbies also no longer disband after every match. Though the Omni movement systems from BO6 return, but it's refined. Wall jumping feels generally more fluid, and players can now aim down sights while performing movement actions without needing a specific perk to do so. There's a new overclock system that lets you upgrade equipment, field upgrades, and score streaks to unlock new capabilities too, with the game launch including 18 multiplayer maps, 16 traditional 6v6, and 2 large-scale 20v20 maps for Skirmish. Express, Raid, and Hijacked, all from Black Ops 2, have been remade for the 6v6 mode as well. On the zombie side of things, a new round-based map, Ashes of the Damned, Treyarch's largest round-based map ever made. Continuing the Dark Ether storyline, this new map is clearly heavily inspired by the classic map Transit. The mode includes standard and direct experiences.
This too shall pass.
Plus 2 new ways to play. Survival being the classic experience focused solely on surviving rounds in a small area of the map. Cursed, now the new hardcore mode for veteran players with customizable difficulty modifiers. The map also features a drivable and upgradable truck called Old Tessie to help the crew traverse the massive map.
together again. Burn rubber.
In addition to the Black Ops 6 crew, the mode adds new Dark Ether versions of each of our classic characters, Richtofen, Dempsey, Takio, and Nikolai, bringing back our classic cast of heroes. By the way, did I mention all of the double XP tokens, Gobblegums, and augment progression from BO6 carries over to BO7? It's like they knew they didn't try hard enough, so extra enticement must be done to lure fans to cop both releases. The game aims to continue the psychological warfare and conspiracy themes that the Black Ops series has been known for, offering a mind-bending experience across all of its modes. But to reiterate, couldn't all of this have been done for last year's release? I mean, wasn't that the entire point of the BO6 launch? To revive the franchise to what it was before the Black Ops Cold War predicament. But now it just seems like they're falling back into old habits. And this time around, there's no muddying of the waters to cover it up. Even Raul Menendez, even though I love bringing him up during Call of Duty arguments, once such a beacon for creative intuition and geopolitical awareness, now he's a digital hack. They literally brought him back as a digital AI version of Raul Menendez. I didn't know how they were gonna ruin the original, but never did I think in this fashion. Even his most vile act in BO2, it's a case of an eye for an eye for an eye. After torturing Woods and leaving him for what he thought to be dead in a crate on a boat, Woods naturally vowed revenge on the cartel leader once he was rescued. However, consumed by his own rage, he threw an errant grenade at Menendez in a hasty attempt to kill him. Unfortunately, Mason interfered with the throw and the grenade bounced away from Raul and into the room with Josefina. This killed his beloved sister, who had already endured so much, but Raul survived and began plotting his vengeance. This mission in particular, and the lead up to the tragedy, was as cinematic as it got when it came to FPS campaigns. We got to actually see Raul's perspective when he visited and sat quietly with his sister, showing a softer side. While his attempt to save her showcased bravery, traits that had essentially never been shown by a Call of Duty villain prior. Getting to see Frank Wood's reaction in the present day as he looks back on the moment that caused his loved ones and the world so much suffering, allowed for the most powerful voice acting from this franchise ever seen.
What the is wrong with me? Just take it easy, man. Just take it easy.
Menendez's revenge is undoubtedly the most harrowing moment in BO2, and arguably one of the darkest sequences in Call of Duty history. In quick succession, he tricked Woods into shooting Mason, kneecapped Woods to no longer walk, and killed Hudson, his handler, right in front of him. David, Mason's son, being forced to witness it all, traumatized the soldier's child, adding even more guilt for Woods. Instead of granting him a quick death, Menendez forced Woods to live out the rest of his life in a wheelchair.
I will shove this wheelchair right up your ass.
Racked with regret and forced to sit on the sidelines when he's so desperate to fight. Menendez's promise that Woods would suffer with him held true, as both grew old, missing people that they held dearly due to the heated rivalry. In one fell swoop, they had eliminated all of the biggest names in Black Ops at the time, though you still couldn't fully hate Raul. Yes, he was in the wrong and had to be stopped. Players were meant to understand his motives and sympathize with a complete maniac. The canonical ending of BO2 established that Mason kills Menendez. And though a digital construct and hallucinations do allow his return to not shatter continuity, how does this allow for a meaningful narrative to play out easily? Even with a compelling storyline, fans will still have to do some mental gymnastics envisioning many of the possibilities between BO7 and BO2. Just wait till they pull in iOS and then go Black Ops 26 next year. Jesus Christ. May God help us all.
3D-ish. It kind of feels more like you.
We just don't talk. Which saw juggernaut title games like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, MW3, and even Black Ops 2. Wait, what? The second installment now focus more so on This allows for a more continuous you son of a.
Okay, hold up, wait a minute. All good, just a week ago. Crew at my house, and we party every weekend. So on the radio, that's my favorite song. Make me bounce around like I don't know, like I won't be here long. Now the thrill is gone, got no patience, cause I'm not a doctor. He definitely chased that shit.